Hey everyone, I'm Storm Team meteorologist Allison Gargaro bringing you an update in the tropics. Today is Monday, October 30th, the day before Halloween, and we are located here in Orlando, but we are monitoring the tropics not only across the Atlantic, but also in the Pacific for you. I do want to start with our 7-day tropical outlook. So we are looking at what is already developed or what could be developing within the next week from today. And in the Atlantic, there's two areas that we're monitoring. One is a 20%er, a feature that really has been decreasing in the likelihood of any further development over the next week. And then we have an area in the Caribbean that we've actually been seeing an increase in the potential for that further development. So let's start with the one that says 20%. It's near the Bahamas right now. Now, folks across the state of Florida may be saying, hey, that's getting a little too close for comfort. Well, I want to let you know, not really something that we'll need to be worrying about here in Central Florida. If we take you into our exclusive Fox model, this is something that you'll only see at Fox affiliated stations. It's this feature, disorganized showers and thunderstorms. We'll call it a disturbance that's out in the Atlantic. Now, it is just to the north skirting of the Bahamas here, but what we're seeing is a lot going on in the atmosphere. This area of low pressure is going to be picked up by that front, and you can see basically just takes it and starts curving it out to the north and to the east. So away from not only the state of Florida, but also the southeastern coast of the United States, and it's going to continue to make that way up and away from the U.S. So that area in particular, what we are calling Invest 96L, again, not going to be impacting any landmass. You can see that once it makes that curve off to the north and east, that it's actually likely going to be moving a little bit closer to the island of Bermuda. But again, our spaghetti plot model's doing a really good job at showing, hey, likely not going to be impacting any landmass, and at that, it's not really too impressive of a feature at all. So that's going to be checking one area off the list of concern. But let's head out to the Caribbean. You can see this large area that we have shaded in orange. Again, coming down from the National Hurricane Center. They're looking at it saying, hey, there's a moderate chance that we could see development over the next 7 days. Orange is 40 to 60, and we're right in the middle of that. Now, it is something that we need to be looking out for closely, especially folks that are in Central America. Our modeling is going to be showing a feature popping up right about here. There you go. You can see the disorganized showers and thunderstorms starting to develop within the next few days. We're talking Thursday, November 2nd of this week. Now, something that's really interesting in this modeling is that it has it basically moving directly west. You can see trucking here and then into Central America by Saturday, November 4th of this week. So if anything, it would still take a little bit to develop, but according to the National Hurricane Center, we actually could be seeing this become a tropical depression, well, within the next, let's call it several days. And up next would be Vince, and then we have Whitney. So I want to show you, this is our storm name list of the 2023 Atlantic hurricane season. You can see we are down to now the last 2 names. But if we do exhaust this list, there's actually a secondary list, or what we're calling a reserve list of storm names, that if we were to be very busy in the last month of the hurricane season, then we eventually would move on to this list. Now, let's say we don't move on to it. Well, it's something that we would then use next year if we needed to use the reserve list. So something that we're always watching and monitoring for you. I do want to take you out to sea surface temperatures. We talk about where is a high likelihood of where we could be seeing some future development again as we get into the November month of the Atlantic hurricane season. Well, you can see that all of the water that is shaded in this orange color, it is hot, 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 86 degrees Fahrenheit plus in some locations. So that's actually where we could be seeing the higher potential for any of that development. Remember, there were 2 areas, disturbed weather, that we're monitoring right now. Well, the one with a higher chance is in this shaded region. So there is a more potential, or very high ocean fuel, as we'll call it. And it's very interesting because it's relatively untouched we haven't seen much development down here recently. A lot has been across the Atlantic and then making its way toward the coast, but there's actually a low potential for any of that area where likely we are seeing that 20%er, and that's less favorable. Ocean temps not quite as impressive. There's higher wind shear. When we talk about wind shear, it actually starts to tear apart the chance for any of that further development. Also some drier air, as we've been seeing a lot of fronts starting to make their way across the United States, and on the back end of the fronts we usually see a lot of that drier air filtering in. So that's exactly what we are looking at coming up on a front that will be moving across the state of Florida just after the Halloween holiday, which is tomorrow. Now, I do want to take you out to one of our maps showing those warm waters. You can see not quite as warm off the coast of us here in Central Florida. Just off our east coast, we're talking about upper 70s, low 80s. Gulf of Mexico also in the low 80s. You can see anywhere from 80 to 83 degrees. Down by the Keys, 81. The Bahamas, 82. But take a look at the Caribbean. Oh yeah, we're piping anywhere from 84 to, like we mentioned, 86 degrees plus. So that's likely where we're going to be seeing the potential for that development. And the November storm zones showing just that, where if anything does come in the Caribbean Sea, we actually could be seeing that steering flow making its way up to the north and then potentially curving back off to the north and east. So that's where we do have the possible area of further development. But again, this is in the Atlantic. We are inching now closer to the start of the last month of the Atlantic hurricane season. So with all this being said, don't let your guard down. You want to depend on us here in the Fox 35 Storm Center. And if anything pops up, we'll be the first to let you know on air as well as online. But I do want to take you out to a tropical storm that we are monitoring. This is going to be in the Pacific, so on the opposite side of Central America. What we're watching potentially could develop over there. It is Tropical Storm Pilar. Latest advisory came out at 11 o'clock this morning, and we are looking at 50-mile-per-hour sustained winds. It is slowly, we're talking slowly, moving off to the east-northeast at 6 miles per hour, and it's going to continue to inch, and then take a look at this curve. So we have the latest forecast Tuesday evening. We'll be seeing it at 70 miles per hour. And then take a look at this. Okay, numbers are going to get a little bit jumbled here because it actually starts to just recurve back out to sea. So it's doing one of those loop-de-loops. We saw that in the Atlantic with Tammy last week. So again, numbers are a little bit jumbled here, but it looks like it's going to be staying at tropical storm strength and right now away from any landmass. But again, as they do these loop-de-loops, we're going to be keeping a close eye out on that, and we'll let anybody know if it could be threatening to a landmass. But for right now, this is the only named storm, not only in the tropical Atlantic, but also the tropical Pacific. So make sure to depend on the Fox 35 storm team. We're going to continue to bring you these updates. We hope you enjoy them. And remember, stay alert and aware as there is still 1 month and now 2 days left in the Atlantic hurricane season.